If you've ever wondered why a lot of musicians may seemingly know thousands of chords, but they don't sound as musical, today's video is for you. Come on, let's have a conversation. One of the biggest misconceptions among keyboard players is that becoming better means that you have to learn more chords. And by more chords, I mean by the hundreds. I have to know every chord in the chord encyclopedia. And not only do I have to know all these chords, but I have to play all these chords in every single song I know, or else I'm not good. I cannot begin to tell you how false that is. In reality, the musicians who stay working the longest often repeat the same ideas. The difference isn't how many chords they know. The difference is the intentionality in how they execute those chords. So, for an example, I'm going to play a simple chord progression. I'm going to go to the 1. We're in the key of C. So that's your C major, right? So say if I go from a 1 to a 5 over 3 to a 6 and then to the 4. And for the sake of resolve, we can go back to the 1. Now, those chords aren't bad. Let's be real. And if you were playing with a chord chart or a number chart in whatever setting that you're playing in, maybe you're in a band or at church or something like that, and those are the chords or the numbers that were called for, those chords would technically be right. However, if the song was maybe 7 minutes long and that was the only chord structure to the whole song, you don't have to play this way the whole time. You don't have to do that. So the difference is, how do I execute these chords in a way it sounds a little bit more musical? So let's run through some ideas to kind of see what I mean. So we're going to start with the same chord progression that we started with, right? So let's make some small nuances to kind of make it come alive a little bit more. Right there, grace notes, that adds a lot to it right there. Licks. And then certain licks that you can do as well. So things like that elevated the sound just that quickly. And we didn't have to go and learn a whole jambalaya worth of chords to bring it alive. Now, can you do that? Technically, yes, you can. And really, it just matters what type of music you're playing, the genre and the style of music that you're playing, and what seems the most appropriate. And again, you may have some MDs or band leaders that may be more conservative, and some may give you more liberty to do what you want. In those instances, the best thing to do is to pretty much stick to the script of what you were asked to do. But if they trust you to get the green light and go for it and just add what you want to, you can do that. And you don't even have to learn a whole bunch of new chords. You don't have to add these huge extended chords, and you only have 10 fingers, but it takes 25 notes to play it. You don't have to do all that. So again, if we have that simple chord progression, a 1, 5 over 3, and then the 6, and then the 4, add some licks in there. You can go to the 7. You can switch out your 5 over 3 to a 5 over 7. And then you can voice your chords like this. You can add so much to basic chords without going through and learning or feeling like you have to learn a million different chords and then using that dictionary of a million chords to justify how good you are or are not as a musician. You can use the same basic chords but execute them in different ways. So a lot of times you can also use different type of rhythmic feels to it. So you can do quarter notes. And that's another way to voice that chord right there. The 6, that A minor 9, and then you can go that way with the F major chord. So you don't have to play triads. And that's a lot of times the misconception too. If people see like, oh, the chord chart is saying to play an F major, that I don't have to play it in root position. I can go like this. I can play octaves in my right hand and then power chords in my left. And then the same with the C chord on the 1. That's still a C major chord. So you have freedom. You have more freedom than you realize that you do have. So again, we can keep exploring this chord progression. You can do stuff like that. You can do stuff like that. That's called borrowing chords. So what I did was I kept my root, or the bass note rather, the C, and then I used a D major chord, kind of like almost like a nice little tension or an uplifting kind of feel to it. And then that's a nice segue into the 5/7. So I can do that one more time. And if you're noticing, I'm adding melody as well. I can add some type of melodic lines to it to make it interesting as well. And again, it didn't take a million different chords to just elevate that simple chord progression. Even when I'm playing live, whether it's with a band or whether it's at church, or even if I'm recording for clients on Sound Better, they're not necessarily paying me to impress them with everything that I know. What they're paying me to do is to serve the music in the way that it's needed. And I may not need every chord that I know. I may not need every chop that I know. I may not need every lick and every run that I know for the song. But I can serve the song in the context of what's being asked of me with even the simplest chords, but make those simple chords come alive. And even though they're not paying me to impress them, being able to use discretion in learning how to play those chords and learning how to use those chords rather, that actually does impress them. So it kind of does work in that way. So if anything, I would just tell you to expand on the ideas that you have for this, even the smallest chords that you know. You don't have to play a triad every time. You don't have to play major, minor, your augmented or diminished triad. You don't have to play in root position at all, because I already showed you different ways you can voice your C major. You can do a C major 7. You can do it this way. You can do chords like that. You can do pretty much anything within the confines of that chord structure. You don't have to leave. If anything, I would say this. Try and sit at your piano or your keyboard and think of a simple chord progression the way we just did today. Expand on those ideas. Try melodic lines or a counter melody that kind of complements the melody that's being sang or played by the lead instrument or the lead vocalist. Try different rhythmic patterns. You can do quarter notes. You can do stuff like that and bring it alive. So I would say do this. Make a simple 4-chord progression, play it simple the first few times around, and then every 4 bars, add a different nuance. Add a run, add a lick, add a grace note, add some more rhythmic feel, because piano is a rhythmic instrument, as much as we may or may not know that, but I'll be the one to tell you now. It is a rhythmic instrument. So you're not confined to just playing the chords in block form and just holding whole notes. Break that box today. You have permission, okay? So this week, don't learn 5 new chord progressions. Take one progression and find 5 different ways to make it feel beautiful. Great keyboard players don't sound great just because they know everything and they put their everything into every song. They sound great because they know exactly when to use what they already know.